Imagine, for today's history lesson, your alarm doesn't go off tomorrow morning. Not because it's weekend, because alarm clocks haven't been invented yet. Your phone doesn't exist. Your inbox doesn't exist. Nobody expects you to answer messages before breakfast. Instead, the first thing you hear is a rooster that has absolutely no respect for sleeping in. Welcome to Echoes of Every Day, where we explore history's lessons for today. This is medieval Europe. Now, when most people imagine the Middle Ages, they picture endless misery, mud, disease, starvation, dung flying through the streets, life expectancy of about 25, basically one giant historical dumpster fire. But then you occasionally hear someone make a surprising claim. Medieval people actually worked less than we do. They had more holidays. They ate natural food. They weren't chained to smartphones. So, was medieval life actually better than modern life? The answer, rather frustratingly, is both yes and absolutely not. Let's start with something that often surprises people. Many medieval peasants probably worked fewer total days per year than the average full-time worker today. That sounds impossible until you look at the calendar. The medieval church absolutely loved holidays. There were feast days, saints' days, religious festivals, harvest celebrations, Christmas, Easter, local festivals. Depending on where and when you lived, historians estimated there could be easily over 100 days each year when normal agricultural labor slowed dramatically or stopped altogether. Imagine opening your work calendar and discovering that next Thursday is Saint Whoever's Appreciation Day. The office is closed. Friday, a harvest festival. Monday, a religious procession. Tuesday, the village is celebrating because someone's cow had twins. You'd begin to suspect HR had been replaced by monks. Of course, that doesn't mean peasants were relaxing by the fireplace all year. When harvest season arrived, everyone worked. Children, parents, grandparents, neighbors. You worked because if you didn't, people starved. Nature doesn't care about weekends. But outside those seasonal peaks, the rhythm of life was often slower and more flexible than the rigid schedules many people follow today. Nobody expected you to answer work emails at 10:30 at night, mostly because both electricity and emails were still a few centuries away. And honestly, that alone sounds quite peaceful. And then there's sleep. Today, many of us proudly function on 6 hours of sleep while consuming enough caffeine to chemically alter our personalities. Medieval people generally followed the sun. Without electric lighting, nights were dark, really dark. Candles were expensive, and firewood wasn't free. Going to bed shortly after sunset simply made sense. Some historians even believed people practiced what's called segmented sleep. They slept for several hours, woke up for an hour or two to pray, read, talk, or quietly reflect, and then went back to sleep until dawn. Imagine telling your boss you're late because you're preserving an authentic 14th century sleep schedule. Human resources might not appreciate your commitment to historical accuracy. But here's where things become much less romantic. Medicine. Or rather, the spectacular lack of it. Today, if you get appendicitis, it's frightening. But odds are good that you'll survive. You go to a hospital, receive anesthesia, have surgery, recover. But in the Middle Ages, appendicitis often meant your family started discussing funeral arrangements. An affected cut from chopping wood, potentially fatal. A difficult childbirth, terrifying. A broken leg, it might never heal properly. Something as ordinary as a tooth infection could eventually kill you. Imagine explaining antibiotics to a medieval physician. These tiny pills kill invisible organisms. He'd probably accuse you of practicing witchcraft, then ask if he could have some. Disease shaped every aspect of medieval life. The Black Death alone killed between 30 and 50% of Europe's population. But plague wasn't unique. Smallpox, dysentery, typhoid, tuberculosis, influenza. Disease wasn't an occasional crisis. It was background noise, a constant companion. and every family knew loss. Which brings us perhaps to the most misunderstood statistic in history: life expectancy. You've probably heard that medieval people only lived to be around 30 years old. That's technically true, and deeply misleading. People didn't suddenly drop dead on their 30th birthday. The average was dragged down by catastrophic infant mortality. Many children never reached adulthood. If someone survived childhood, avoided major disease, war, childbirth complications, and serious accidents, living into their 60s wasn't unusual. Some even reached their 70s or 80s. Still, the risk of never getting there was dramatically higher than today. Modern medicine hasn't merely added years to life, it's removed countless ways to die before middle age. And then there's food. This one is complicated. On one hand, medieval diet often contained far fewer processed foods, no artificial preservatives, no ultra-processed snack foods. Much of what people ate was grown locally, seasonal, fresh, bread, vegetables, cheese, beans, occasionally fish or meat, depending on status and region. It sounds wonderfully wholesome, until winter arrived. Imagine your grocery store disappearing every November. No imported strawberries, no bananas, no chocolate from halfway around the globe, no refrigerated trucks bringing fresh produce every morning. What you had was what you'd stored. Salted meat, root vegetables, dried peas, whatever survived the season, and if harvest failed, everyone felt it. Modern supermarkets may not feel magical, but historically speaking, they're bordering on science fiction. Walk into one today. There are oranges from Spain, rice from Asia, coffee from South America, fish from Norway, spices from India, cheese from France, chocolate from Belgium. In January, medieval kings would have been impressed, perhaps even slightly jealous. Now, let's talk about work. Modern jobs can certainly feel stressful. Meetings, deadlines, performance reviews, PowerPoint presentations that somehow last longer than actual medieval sieges. But medieval labor was intensely physical. Harvesting by hand, digging fields, carrying water, splitting firewood, grinding grain, mending roofs, everything required muscle. There were no tractors, no chainsaws, no washing machines, no dishwashers, no vacuum cleaners. Even laundry could occupy an entire day. Cooking wasn't simply making dinner. It often began with collecting fuel. When historians say medieval people worked fewer annual days, that doesn't necessarily mean that life required less effort. It simply means much of that effort happened outside what we'd call formal employment. Survival itself was work. And then there's freedom. Today, most people, depending on where they live, can choose careers, move cities, travel internationally, change employers, study new subjects, start business, vote, express opinions, again, depending on where they live. Medieval life offered far fewer choices. If you were born a peasant, you were probably going to remain one. Your social mobility resembled a castle wall, very, very difficult to climb. Marriage often reflected economics as much as romance. Travel was dangerous. Education was limited. Books were astonishingly expensive. Knowledge spread slowly because every copy had to be written by hand. Imagine waiting 8 months for your favorite author's next release, because an exhausted monk was still copying chapter 4. Information moved at walking speed. Today, we complain when a web page takes 4 seconds to load. Perspective is a wonderful thing, yet medieval communities possessed something many modern societies struggle to maintain: strong local relationships. People generally knew their neighbors, worked alongside extended family, participated in shared festivals, attended the same church, helped each other during harvest. Life was intensely communal. Privacy was rare. Loneliness often was too. Modern life gives us remarkable independence. It can also leave us surprisingly isolated. You can live in an apartment building containing hundreds of people without knowing a single name. A medieval villager could probably find that astonishing or deeply sad. Of course, that close-knit community came with a cost. Everyone knew your business. Your reputation mattered enormously. Conformity wasn't encouraged. It was expected. Standing out could be dangerous, especially if your ideas challenged religion, tradition, or local authority. Modern society may sometimes feel anonymous. Medieval society rarely gave you that luxury. And then there's entertainment. Today, we have films, books, video games, music streaming, podcasts, virtual reality, entire libraries inside devices that fit into our pockets. Medieval entertainment looked rather different. Storytelling, music, festivals, markets, traveling performers, archery contests, wrestling, dice games, perhaps the occasional bear baiting, which thankfully has fallen out of fashion. Entertainment wasn't consumed alone through headphones. It happened together, shared. Public, social. Less choice, but perhaps more connection. So, was medieval life actually better? If your biggest frustrations today are endless emails, expensive housing, social media, constant notifications, and feeling like your work never truly ends, then yes, certain aspects of medieval life sound genuinely appealing. A slower rhythm, closer communities, more time structured around seasons instead of calendars, natural boundaries between work and rest. A world where nobody expected you to answer messages while eating dinner. But if you developed pneumonia, needed surgery, wanted to choose your own career, travel across continents, read millions of books, watch this video, or simply expect your children to survive into adulthood, modern life wins by a landslide. History often tempts us into nostalgia. We imagine candlelit cottages without remembering the smoke inhalation. We imagine fresh bread without remembering famine. We imagine peaceful villages without remembering plague. Likewise, we sometimes focus too much on modern stress that we forget its incredible advantages. History isn't a competition to determine which century was objectively best. Every era solves problems while creating entirely new ones. The Middle Ages reminds us that more technology doesn't automatically produce happier lives. Modern life reminds us that comfort, medicine, education, and freedom are extraordinary achievements that are easy to take for granted. Perhaps the better question isn't whether we'd rather live in the Middle Ages. It's this: if medieval people could somehow visit us today, would they envy our technology? Almost certainly. Would they envy our medicine? Without hesitation. Would they envy our freedom to travel, learn, and choose our own futures? Absolutely. But after watching us rush through breakfast while answering emails, checking messages, listening to podcasts, reading the news, scrolling social media, and worrying about tomorrow's deadlines, they might quietly ask one very reasonable question. You've conquered so many of life's hardships. Why does everyone still seem to be in such a hurry? Maybe that's the real lesson history has been trying to teach us all along. Progress isn't just about inventing better tools. It's about remembering what those tools were supposed to give us in the first place. More time to actually live. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next journey into history. Every week we explore the lives, ideas, and forgotten stories that still shape our world today. This has been Echoes of Everyday, History's Lessons for Today.